Okay, we are rolling. Champions of Champions boxing talk here. Well, we're just 4 days away from a major fight in the welterweight division in terms of names. Particularly a huge name in the UK and in global boxing, to be honest with you. Because he's such a fast, exciting fighter. And that's Amir Khan. And we have potentially... These two guys go back and forth for the pound-for-pound title, don't they? We have Terence Crawford, who is a contender for that title. Either him or Lomachenko, depending which side of the coin, you choose. And depending whether you get heads or tails. That's the pound-for-pound king. I suppose it's a subjective one between them two at the moment. But this fight with Amir Khan... Let me just start off. Amir Khan is a tremendous fighter. He's a two-time world champion at least. He is never, ever... You name me the last boring fight Amir Khan was a part of. It's quite a while ago. In fact, I'm really struggling to think of a dull fight with Amir Khan. But you see, that can be his problem, can't it? Right? Amir Khan, though, for as good as he is, he's a front runner. His hand speed competes with anyone in boxing. It does. He has decent power. He has good speed all round, good footwork. Concentration as the fight wears on seems to dip. And he tends to go for a macho approach when he takes punishment. He tends to fight back too hard rather than defend too good. And then he tends to do things like... I know people say his chin is his kryptonite, but it's the way he defends that chin as well. He tends to, square his shoulders up and leave his chin out and inevitably gets punched clean instead of having his guard up at all times. Things like that. It is a very defiant look when you see a human being. When they get hit, they pretend they're not hurt. They drop the hands, and the first thing a cocky human being does is sort of put their chin out with a sense of pride, like, come on, let's have the fight. That's the worst thing you can do in boxing. You're never more vulnerable in boxing than when you're absolutely either angry, wanting revenge, annoyed, or overconfident. That is when you are most likely to get hit. Cowards in boxing sometimes do better than heroes. Right? Because at the end of the day, it is a thinking man's sport. It is not just barbarianism. It's chess. Boxing is about less, actually, than fighting than it is thinking. That's the first thing that comes in my mind when people ask me the question, what do you think the sport of boxing is? And to me, it is thinking. I don't think fighting first, I think thinking first. Khan thinks for so long. His speed lasts for so long. His punching, where he fires them shots off like a machine gun, boom, 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 great combination puncher, gets repetitive. Thing is, when you've got a magician, a man who has a masterful ring IQ in Terence Crawford, that puts Amir Khan in danger. I'm just going to tell you straight off, I think Amir Khan loses this fight. And I think he loses this fight, unfortunately, again by KO. Right? Not having a go at Amir Khan, but he does tend to have a fan base that is as fanatical at times as Pacquiao or Mayweather's. The difference is Amir Khan doesn't have Pacquiao and Mayweather's boxing achievements. He has very good boxing achievements, brilliant, but not quite what the fan base would have you believe, right? And I don't think he's quite at his sharpest anymore, to be honest with you. I think Amir Khan has better days. Samuel Vargas, who is a C+ level fighter, was managing to hurt and dropped Amir Khan in their fight. Let me tell you, Amir Khan at his peak, the Amir Khan that beat Devin Alexander, the Amir Khan that beat Louis Collazo, would destroy Samuel Vargas in 5-6 rounds, in my opinion. But it was life and death nearly in that fight. It was a clear points win for Khan, but every round was hard, right? And Khan was planting his feet more in that fight. His feet didn't look as quick. So therefore, when he was stood still, he was able at times to not be able to get out of the way of Vargas's punches. And Amir Khan talks about learning. He took a massive right hand over the top by Canelo Alvarez, which knocked him out, right? You'd think he'd learn from that, but he was dropped against Samuel Vargas with the exact same punch. So we get to a stage where a fighter reaches over 30 and they tell you they're going to be someone else. No, because once you get hit, you revert back to type. I don't think Amir Khan will be massively different come Saturday night v Terence Crawford. I think he's the potential to be drawing for, two rounds apiece against Crawford early. But Crawford takes this fight by the horns when he wants to, when he chooses. There's this myth that Amir Khan would have beaten Pacquiao or Mayweather. I don't believe he would have ever beaten Pacquiao or Mayweather. I'll tell you for why. Intelligent fighters catch Amir Khan after he's fired his combinations, right? Because he sometimes admires his work. Then they catch him with a counter. Do you not think Mayweather would have done that? I do. I see Pacquiao doing that as well against Amir Khan. I think he makes a tremendous start against Mayweather or Pacquiao. He's competitive, maybe less so with Pacquiao, because Pacquiao is more of a puncher, and that spells danger from the get-go. But ultimately, both guys are accurate, very good counter-punchers. What do you think Terence Crawford is? Terence Crawford is a student. He'll know what Amir Khan brings to the table. Thing with Crawford is, though, he's also a switch hitter. You're talking about, and I've just watched a tremendous performance by, a superstar in football called Lionel Messi. And Terence Crawford is the Messi of boxing. He is. He can fight orthodox, southpaw. His power is underrated, right? He's sharp. He is a surgeon. He has great footwork, wonderful accuracy. He does it all well. From what I can see, he could take a punch as well. But I think Crawford early sort of figures out Khan's rhythm. And he doesn't hit Khan when Khan's punching, although he could do that, and I think he may at times do that. But I think he puts a bit of variation in this. I think he hits when Khan's finished. I think he parries and blocks, and he's out of range when Khan is trying to attack, because Khan is not the counter-puncher Terence Crawford is. Then he hits Khan during the gaps. Then he varies it up and hits Khan while Khan is punching, because Crawford, maybe in terms of combinations, might not quite have the hand speed of Amir Khan, but in terms of a one-shot scenario, his punch can reach a target as quick as Amir's can. One shot from Amir is fast. Crawford's is fast, but it's more accurate. At times, Khan can waste punches. Crawford is aware of this, but Crawford is not as wasteful. Crawford fights well as the fight goes on. He fights better. Khan is a front runner, right? Can Amir Khan win this? Of course, he's a world-class fighter, right? Put it this way, if Khan beat Terence Crawford, that would be less of a shock than Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson. So anything can happen. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I favour Terence Crawford in this fight. And it's because Amir Khan also he sometimes believes in the art of war rather than the art of sense. Particularly when he gets hit. That is always been his undoing, right? It's going to be a bad 2 weeks for British boxing. We've seen Anthony Crawler get absolutely destroyed by Lomachenko. Now, I was surprised at that because Anthony Crawler, to me, is more rugged and has a better punch resistance than Amir Khan. So when Timothy Bradley said Amir Khan is a better opponent for Crawford than Anthony Crawler was for Lomachenko, in some ways, yes, I agree, and in some ways not. It was impressive to knock a guy like Crawler out like that. I thought Crawler could at least go to the latter stages of that fight. But Lomachenko was tremendous. He was on it. His footwork, I thought Crawler's, shall we say, tactics to be on the back foot was wrong. But when you're on the front foot, Lomachenko finds a way. Again, he's another one that's got tools galore. The body shots. That punch straight down the middle, which rocked Crawler early. Then Crawler on the ropes, Lomachenko had no hesitation but to put combinations there. And Crawler was constantly expecting the left hand to nail him. And what did Lomachenko do? He put some variety in his work and finished the job with a right hook. Perfect right on the top of the head. That's a guy, again, I think that has better punch resistance than Amir Khan. If Crawford catches Khan like that early, Crawford could end this fight early. You see, the thing is, Canelo Alvarez was a lot slower than Terence Crawford. Canelo Alvarez, in terms of boxing skill, is weaker than Terence Crawford. His feet are slower than Terence Crawford. I think Crawford gets to Amir Khan and gets more success quicker than Canelo Alvarez. Because Terence Crawford, he is nearly as quick, maybe quicker at this point. He's a sharper boxer. He has the speed that Canelo Alvarez didn't have to tag Amir Khan early. And his timing is as good as Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had to wait a patient game, waiting for frontrunner Amir Khan to start to square up and make mistakes before he could land that big right hand. Crawford doesn't have to wait. If Crawford waits, it's because he's choosing to wait, right? So early again, I see the typical Terence Crawford having a look, and maybe Amir Khan taking the first round. And then Crawford taking over. Seriously, I could see it from round 2. Literally. I think Crawford stops Amir Khan quicker than he stopped Jeff Horn. Because again, I think at this point, Amir Khan is more brittle than Jeff Horn. Right? He's better skilled. Again, he's got attributes like speed and hand speed, which are beyond Jeff Horn. But that bite your gum shield down toughness belongs to Jeff Horn, right? Khan attacks as well. Crawford can let Khan come to him. And I think Crawford certainly has the ability, if Amir Khan switches on a back foot, to close him down. Because as I said, his feet are quicker than Canelo Alvarez. This video is, making it sound like I'm a real downer on Amir Khan. I'm not. He's a tremendous fighter. I just think at this stage, well, put it this way. The Khan, as I said, that faced Devin Alexander and Luis Collazo, I think has gone. You people forget, remember before the Canelo Alvarez fight, which I think Amir Khan put in a really good performance up to the point where he was stopped, right? And it was a heavy knockout. But just before that fight with Canelo Alvarez, Amir Khan went life and death with Chris Algieri. And we all know what Errol Spence did with Chris Algieri. We all know what Manny Pacquiao did with Chris Algieri. And Manny Pacquiao passed his prime at that point, right? And Amir Khan struggled. But why did he struggle early with Chris Algieri? Well, the lighter guys are quick. So Chris was able to do things and get close to Amir Khan that a middleweight like Canelo couldn't do. Same with Crawford. Crawford will be able, and of course he's levels above Chris Algieri is Terence Crawford. But again, he'll be able to, just by being that natural speed of a welterweight, to time Khan in ways Canelo and a bigger guy couldn't do. And to beat Terence Crawford, Khan is going to have to be perfect. He can't make a mistake at all. We've seen in Crawford's last fight, the other guy felt he was going the distance and then wham, an uppercut out of nowhere finishes the fight. People say Crawford is not a concussive puncher. He's a better puncher than advertised, let me tell you. But you don't need to be that against Amir Khan. Dear, Michael Gomez dropped Amir Khan. Brady's Prescott knocked out Amir Khan. People from all different shapes and sizes have knocked out Amir Khan. What would be tremendous? Can you imagine if Amir Khan, say he manages to absorb Terence Crawford's power and punches? What would be a real statement to the boxing world? Because again, Amir Khan is known as a tremendous boxer, even as I said, even if it is repetitive. But if Crawford could outpoint Amir Khan, wow. That is a statement. Because Amir Khan doesn't usually get outpointed, does he? Lamont Peterson did it, but that was very controversial. That was only because the referee took points. Some people argue harshly from Amir Khan. And of course, there was rumours that Prescott was, shall we say, not honest. Taking a few juicy things, shall we say. But that's the only occasion I can think of. So if Crawford could, pick Amir Khan apart and take a decision, that would also be a statement. But I don't see Khan lasting the distance with this guy. As I said, he's knocked out some rugged fighters recently. You may not think that Jeff Horn is this or Jeff Horn is that, but Jeff Horn did survive against Manny Pacquiao, and he survived an onslaught. He didn't survive against Terence Crawford. And as I said, Khan has to think about southpaw, orthodox, counter-punching, accuracy, ring IQ. Terence Crawford can also hit to the body. Terence Crawford can be offensive and be a wicked finisher when he wants to be. Or he can be a guy that can just take you to the scorecards and win on points. He has such classic variation. Great ring coverage, great feet. Feet that compete with Amir Khan's. Hand speed that competes with Amir Khan's. Better ring IQ. Undefeated. More confident. Psychologically in a better state. At his prime, basically. And the Louis Collazo, Devin Alexander, Amir Khan, I think has passed. And I still think Crawford beats that version. I do. I think he has earned his title of being amongst today's pound-for-pound fighters. So this is not an attack on Amir Khan. I really like Amir Khan. He's given us some of the most exciting fights of the current boxing age. I think he went away for too long and wasted a lot of time chasing Pacquiao and Mayweather when he would have had a better chance competing with some of the top guys in the sport. Now he's faced Canelo. Now he's coming up to face Terence Crawford. But I think he's taking these fights a little bit too late. I still think those guys would have beat Khan at his prime. But you're better off fighting the top dogs when you're at your prime. If your reflexes have dimmed any, you're at risk. Samuel Vargas was tagging him. We didn't see much about his first fight because it was over so quick. But he was dragged into a dogfight in that fight. Will this be able to sharpen Amir Khan up? People say, well, Tyson Fury fought two no-names and then he gave Deontay Wilder an absolute He gave him hell in that heavyweight fight. Many believe Tyson Fury, myself included, beat Deontay Wilder. But Deontay Wilder is much, 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 much more limited than Terence Crawford. You can't compare Deontay Wilder to Terence Crawford. Had Tyson Fury sat on a couch for 3 years and come back to boxing to fight a heavyweight equivalent of Terence Crawford, Tyson Fury would not have won. He'd have been pasted. So you really can't compare that performance. There is no such thing as a Terence Crawford in the heavyweight division. The nearest would be Usyk if he goes up there and is successful as a heavyweight. But aside from that, there's nothing like this. Khan is fighting much better competition at the welterweight division. That to me just is what it is. So I don't take that much encouragement from Tyson Fury's crusade against Deontay Wilder. Yes, I thought Tyson Fury won that fight. Yes, it was a tremendous achievement when you consider what he'd been through to do that. But had he fought a Lennox Lewis style heavyweight, Tyson Fury would have lost that night. Because a Lennox Lewis is the nearest heavyweight you could compare to someone like a Terence Crawford in terms of that master chess player in his mind, right? Khan is facing that level. He's not facing a Deontay Wilder. He's not just facing what many consider a reckless puncher. He's fighting a scientist. And ultimately, the sweet science in boxing. The brains beat the brawns. They do. Yes, you need the brawns, but anybody can train to be fit and strong. The human body is capable of it. But then it's how the control center, your mind, dictates that physiology. It's the brain, 80% of it, in fact. And Crawford's 80% drives the last 10 and 20%, which is his body. Makes a person very dangerous indeed. So this is Champions of Champions Boxing Talk. Amir Khan, I hope you win. I'm behind you 110%. I think you will last longer than Anthony Crawler because of your feet, speed, and natural ability. But ultimately, I see Terence Crawford taking this. I'm out, brother.